you, Chairman. This application seeks amendments to the previously approved scheme, which was approved at committee in September 2013. The changes, as originally submitted, relate to 8 plots within the site. This is the approved site plan, and the plots shown in red are those that were originally submitted in this application for amendment. The changes that at that stage were proposed were a raising of the ridge height of these 8 plots by 450 millimetres, provision of modest garden room elements at ground floor level on the rear elevations of plots 17, which is this one here, 29, this one here, 32, which is here, 35, which is this one here, and then 38 and 39. Those 6 plots there. What also was included were the provision of windows, including door and Velux-style windows on second floor levels. Internally, the consequential amendments as a result of these changes, in the case of plots 17, 29, 32, 35, 38 and 39, there is no increase in the number of bedrooms within these plots. Rather, the scheme proposes a rationalisation of the space within the property to include a bedroom at the second floor level and less bedrooms on the first floor, maintaining therefore 4 bedrooms within these properties. In the case of plots 15 and 24, this internal rationalisation has led to an increase in bedrooms from 4 to 5. Therefore, as was originally submitted, this application led to an increase of bedrooms of 2 over the entire plot. However, in response to some local concern, the applicants have revised the plans this week, hence my verbal update on those now. They have removed the proposed changes to plots 15 and 17. That's plot 15 there, which is this one on the west boundary of the site, and plot 17 is this one here. So they no longer form part of this proposal. That leaves us with the remaining 6 properties at present. By way of an update as well, I have received an email from Councillor Marion this morning. In summary, this maintains an objection to the scheme, states that 3-storey townhouses are not in keeping with the village design, states that residents requested 2-storey dwellings. What is the point of Bloor Homes undertaking consultations are going to ignore public opinion? States that adding more bedrooms and floor space is equivalent to 3 further houses, thereby increasing the density, and states that it is irritating that Bloor Homes want to make changes at this late stage. I'll just take you through some of the plans before me. This is the, excuse me, this is the submitted street scene drawing that shows some of the changes proposed. For example, this here is plot 24, which we saw at the northeast corner of the site. We can see here relatively the increase in ridge height as a result of that, and the provision of a relatively modest double window on the front elevation. These 2 plots here are also proposed at an increased height. You can see these are located flank on to the entrance to Ridgebridge Drive. These properties are located generally at this location here and don't present any additional windows at second floor level looking out from the site itself. In this context, and within the context of the scheme, the increase in height of 6 properties with a varied street scene and a suitable design is considered acceptable in visual terms. The proposed changes and additional windows at second floor level are also considered appropriate from an amenity perspective, given that the 5 of the plots are relatively enclaved within the centre of the site. Plot 24, which is this one here, presents itself to the existing properties off-site, but with a standoff distance considerably in excess of 20 metres. From an amenity perspective, officers are satisfied that that is appropriate. The single-storey garden room extensions at ground floor level are typically 2 by 4 metres in depth and are entirely appropriate in terms of their impact on amenity. With the changes that we received from the agent this week, there is an increase of 1 bedroom across the entire development site, officer's view is that this makes no material impact upon the density of the scheme. Accordingly, there is no reason to withhold permission, and the recommendation is to approve as per page 49 of today's report. Thank you.
Right, we have two public speakers on this one. Councillor Prone, who is an objector, and Marion Farrant, who is clerk to Kedington Parish Council. Councillor Prone, 3 minutes, off you go. Yes, you're on first.
Thank you. Why has the planning reference number changed? Have all relevant previous consultations and considerations been carried across from the previous applications? The design, the style and height of the new design does not seem to resemble those shown in a previous public consultation. Open space. The design and access statement, while emphasising its provision of open space, strangely only provides approximately 5.7% public open space, which is extremely low, usually between 10-20% in outer London and 10% in a town development. Despite this development being mainly targeted towards families, they are unlikely to secure a place for their children at the oversubscribed local primary school. As does this sit with the Borough sustainability policy, since it will be necessary for these parents from these dwellings to travel miles by car to their local school. This housing proposal goes against Objective 5 of St Edmundsbury Rural Vision 2031 Sustainability Appraisal to help reduce the need to travel by unsustainable means, and Objective 9, access to school. The 3-storey dwelling now proposed with higher roofs have a bigger visual impact are unimaginative urban townhouses which are not in keeping with the rural village of Kedington or even semi-rural village, and represent bad design arisen from a lack of understanding of place and context. This design therefore contravenes government policy. The appearance of the proposed development and its relationship to its surroundings are relevant to the consideration of planning applications, and PPG1 makes it clear that local planning authorities should reject poor design. The type of town housing proposed contravenes the St Edmundsbury Core Strategy Document Plan, which was adopted on 14th of December 2010, because it does not help to maintain the village identity of Kedington with its character as distinct from the town of Haverhill. In conclusion, these 3-storey buildings will stick out like a sore thumb. There will be a cuckoo in the nest. Please be aware they could be coming to a village near you soon. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Brown. Marion Farrant, off you go.
Mr Chair and committee members, I apologise if some of my points reiterate those of County Councillor Brown, and my brief here this morning has been made without the view we didn't know about Bloor's going to drop the 3-storey plans. The proposed addition of garden rooms on 8 properties gives up to 45% greater floor area and represents the equivalent of at least 3 new dwellings in an already questionably high density development. The approved design statement was to provide buildings up to 2 storeys in height and character, a scheme which was used during the public consultation. The proposed 3-storey modifications with higher roofs are urban townhouses which are not in keeping with this 12th century village and should be rejected for the following reasons. They contravene PPG1 due to lack of understanding of place and context. It contravenes the core strategy because it does not help maintain the village identity as distinct from the town. Contravenes Objective 5 of the Rural Vision Sustainability Appraisal. It compromises the natural and built-up character, identity and local distinctiveness. Provision of less than 5.7% public open space is extremely low. The successful Westwood Deals development in Kedington provides nearly 20%, although now we see parking congestion emerging. There's little or no separation distance between each dwelling on the proposed development, and the curb not suitable for new well-planned modern development in a country setting. The development has failed to interlink to existing routes onto Haverhill Road and failed to incorporate any sustainable transport provisions. For example, there is no bus shelter. Of the 65 dwellings proposed with 234 beds, policy CS5 requires 30% affordable housing. 19 houses should be provided with 70 beds, yet the offering is only 14 with 30 beds, and this allocation is disproportionate to the mix. The entire proposal contravenes St Edmundsbury Core Strategy Plan 7.2, which state development will need to suit the character of the village and the capacity of the services. The school does not have capacity to support the number, at least 100 primary places, which a 234-bed development would demand. The school is already at full capacity, whereas the education authorities forward plan. It's not been made clear how the development will not have a potential impact on increased traffic on local junctions. How is the 7.2 planning objective achieved to ensure everyone can enjoy a high quality life in a safe environment?
Could you zoom on that, please?
Yeah. There is little evidence of any assessment of local infrastructure needs required to make provision of a sustainable service centre a reality. If local needs are not addressed by Edmundsbury Borough Council and satisfied by developers, how will functional spaces result in designs that provide access to all, including access to shops and community facilities? Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Right, over to members. I should point out at this stage that we are not approving the application on block. That was done some time ago. We are looking to the changes to the 8 houses, and that is all we're looking at today. The rest of it has been approved previously. Councillor Rushen.
Thank you, Chair. I was getting more and more confused during that presentation because, as you say, the permission has already been given. We're actually looking at a raised eave ridge height of, could we have it in sort of old terms? Is it 18 inches?
Yes.
Right, so we're really only looking at a difference of 18 inches. And looking at the plans on the screen, it still keeps the ridge height below the height of the chimneys of neighbouring properties that aren't being changed. And to me adds a little bit of variety to the otherwise fairly straight roof line. And I have to say that as far as I'm concerned, I'm happy and will vote to approve it. Thank you.
Are you actually moving approval? Councillor Rushen?
Yes, happy to.
Thank you. Seconded. Councillor Clifton-Brown, you wish to speak?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I am pleased to second it. This is a comparatively minor alteration, and as you so rightly say, we've already approved the rest, so we don't need to argue about that. So I'm happy to second it. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Houlder.
Yes, thank you, Chair. Sort of find this rather annoying, actually, because in the village I represent, the developers have been trying to build larger and taller houses with 3 stories, and I have to support the Parish Council and Councillor Brown, who drew these matters to attention. These are out of keeping in village vernacular or in the setting, and the design is not compatible with the village. It may be compatible with townhouses which are going up. This is a sort of thin end of the wedge. Once they've got a 3rd story or a dormer in the roof, you can bet your bottom dollar any new development's going to come in exactly like that. Villages are against these things, as are towns. We passed, I think it was 900 houses on the Haverhill estate for the Farrant thing, and the developer, they wanted to put 4 stories in, and he had to be nailed down on where these particular properties were going to go. Local people have made their point at the consultation that they don't want 3-story buildings. The development was approved in its totality the last time we looked at it, but now we're being asked to change it. And we've heard, oh, it's only sort of 18 inches, it's only another story, it doesn't really matter. Well, I'm afraid it does, actually. This is going against the village wishes, it's going against the local democracy, and it's going against our previous decisions. So I don't see any reason why we should accept these amendments to the roof height The other minor points of bedroom layout and that sort of thing in the ground floor, I don't think it's going to make any difference, but the height certainly is, and the dormers certainly are. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Houlder.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I actually think that this is going to make an improvement to the look of this development. One of the things that really shouts at a new development is all the houses all the same height, all look the same, and this is not a typical village pattern at all, where the buildings in the village are hotspots of different heights, and I think this will actually make a visual improvement to the whole development. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Beckwith.
Thank you, Chairman. I agree entirely with Councillor Houlder. This is happening everywhere. Townhouses go in towns. I think the clue's in the name. And it's happening, as you expect me to say, Moreton's another example of, squeeze them in, stack them up high, and you can get more in per hectare. It's wrong and it should be resisted. And I think myself and Councillor Houlder are going to be voting the same way.
Thank you. Councillor Ray.
Thank you, Chair. Well, I think terminology we need to get right. I don't regard these proposed alterations as three-storey buildings. They're two-storey buildings with rooms in the loft, which is not three-storey. Three-storey is a three-storey with the roof on top. So I don't accept that, and presumably the residents could apply to convert their lofts anyway, subsequently. So all the planning rules and so on that have been quoted to us are all subjective. This is a subjective view on the design, and some say, yes, this is actually an improvement because it brings in variation in the design, which is, and others say that this is inconsistent with village traditional building, if you like. But I see these changes as relatively minor. They do introduce some variation into the scheme, so I shall be voting to approve them. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Ray. Councillor Mildmay-White.
Thank you, Chairman. Councillor Ray has stolen my thunder, except exactly my point that presumably many of these houses would support a loft extension. And this is in effect what's being proposed today. So I have no problem with it. I might not like the design particularly, it's a bit, little window sticking out at the top there, but there's nothing to stop a resident once they're living in that house applying for exactly the same under their own scheme. So to me, it's not a three-storey home, it is a two-storey home with a loft extension. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you. Councillor Houlder.
Yes, thank you for allowing me to come back. Just a point, the roof height has had to be raised to facilitate these extra loft rooms, so I think that's a bit disingenuous to say it's not three-storey, ground floor, middle floor, upper floor. Thank you.
Last time I saw those plans, they called them 2.5-storey. There you go. Right, anybody else? Anybody got any questions unanswered? Okay, proposed and seconded for approval. All those in favour, please show. And those against?
Ten for that proposal, 4 against, Chairman. That's carried.